Fremantle sits in a fascinating spot coming into 2025. After a 12-win, 6-loss and 1-draw record going into the final month of 2024, the team then sputtered towards the end of the season and lost their final 4 games to miss out entirely on finals when it looked like the top 4 was well within their reach. They were unlucky, picking up untimely injuries to key players in Josh Tracy, captain Alex Pearce and Sean Darcy. Senior coach Justin Longmuir is coming into the final year of his deal and he's 6th overall. He has had 1 winning season in 2022 in which the Dockers did win a final. But there is a problem facing him and the club. It's to do with their marquee ruck duo, which has barely gotten started, and a lot of that is to do with Sean Darcy. A concerning report came out of the West Australian that Darcy is no guarantee for round 1 as he continues to recover from knee surgery. The paper said, Fremantle footy boss Joe Briarty said Darcy's history of knee problems meant they had to do everything possible to ensure this is his last major stint on the sidelines. He's on track with the program that we've implemented. It was obviously a significant injury and there's a few things around Sean's knee we need to continue to work with. The ruckman is still just 26 years old but has played more than 15 games in a season just twice, in 2021 and 2022. During this period of time, especially in 2021, he was at least a top 3 ruck and at times he had stretches where he was the most dominant big man in the competition. He won the best and fairest in 2021, but since then he has struggled with overall fitness. He's a big boy, it's his literal strength, but it's becoming the same old story and hurting his team. At the end of 2023, Darcy signed a 6-year contract with Fremantle, north of $900,000 per year. It's a huge investment for a position some have questioned in the importance of winning premierships. Darcy's health is even more alarming when you factor in Luke Jackson and their chemistry. Jackson so far has had an interrupted start to pre-season and will be built up slowly. He had his tonsils removed in the off-season and was asked to gain weight by the club. He's put on some weight in the off-season and he had his tonsils out, so you can't run for a period of time with that. He's had an interrupted off-season. A big priority for him was to put a few kilos on, so it doesn't surprise me that he was one of the slower to take off. The club will ease him back into full running and build him up from there. Jackson, when he joined in the 2022 off-season, signed a 7-year deal with the club, around the same dollar amount as Darcy per year. It's nearly $2 million of the cap invested in the rucks. Jackson has been durable, playing 46 games and kicking 43 goals in his 2 years, and it's easy to forget he is just 23 years old. But it's been far from a smooth transition for all. Darcy and Jackson have played 28 games together. The sample size is solid enough and the results so far have been okay. In those 28 games, the Dockers have 15 wins, 1 draw and 12 losses. Keep in mind, rarely have these games been longer than a 10-week patch at once, so it has been a lot of stops and starts for the pairing. Is it a great win-loss record? No, but it isn't disastrous and shows that there is a possibility for success. It might look a bit awkward, with Jackson the one mainly playing forward. He doesn't really play like a natural key forward and does his best on ball as an undersized ruck. But with the 1-2 ruck punch, it does wear out the opposition and gives Fremantle a dominant tap ruck and a change of pace with Jackson's hyper athletic ability. It's unique in the current competition. It's not doom and gloom for Fremantle, but Darcy's knee is a problem. The club has too much money invested in the pairing and need both on field to actually see how it can work over a long period of time, not just a month here and there. It's a critical year for Darcy as he is so important to the way Fremantle wants to play. There is also pressure on Fremantle great Nat Fyfe. Arguably the best player to play for the club, he's had a rough 4 years and at times he's been hard to watch. The 33-year-old now has big competition for his selection in the side. He has lost most of his high-flying athleticism and often looks more like a bodybuilder on the field than a big-bodied hyper-athletic on-baller like he once was. Youngsters in Matt Johnson, who's 20, and Neil Erasmus, who is 19, are coming for on-ball spots, and so far, Fife has been able to hold them off, forcing them to play on the wing or on the waffle. Former club great Paul Hazelby told the West Australian, "There's pressure on Fife for his position. Fremantle have invested quite heavily in these two, Johnson and Erasmus, and for them to take that next step, they'll be looking for a solid output from both. For Fife to maintain his spot, he needs to work on his disposal forward of centre and getting back to the offensive beast he was." Fife was able to play 22 games in 2024, but got 25 disposals or more just 3 times and kicked a total of 5 goals. Father Time is undefeated, and Fife, who has struggled with his body for so long, has a big pre-season ahead of him to even stay in the Dockers midfield. Throw in additions of Shai Bolton through trade, who will spend most of his time forward but can play in spurts on ball, and drafty Murphy Reid, another midfield forward type. There is suddenly a lot of depth with this Fremantle midfield and forward half group, so positions will be tight. Going off of their form last year, and with the new additions and possible growth, Longmuir has a really strong team at his disposal. When they traded for Jackson, they did lose a lot of depth and role players, but seem to have uncovered more, mainly through drafting. Longmuir has always set up a strong defence, in part due to their control of the ball itself, and have found their marquee key forward in Josh Tracy, who changed their life last year. There really aren't too many missing pieces in the starting 23. That last piece of the puzzle seems to be with Darcy and Jackson. Their inconsistency in playing together so far has presented an annoying and expensive challenge for basically no significant return at this point. With Longmuir out of contract and fan expectation high due to their great form patches in 2024, a lot of pressure is on the duo and specifically on Darcy. It all starts with the ruck, and when your number one is out consistently, it forces multiple pieces to be moved. He does have a big impact on this team, and hopefully for his sake and Fremantle's, Darcy can play 20 plus games and finally let the dual ruck experiment take its shape.